Hello everyone, welcome to AI Anytime channel, and today we will learn how to build an image caption generation API. So previously I do have a video on image caption generation using deep learning techniques, but today in this video we are going to build on top of that. So we'll take the same code base from my GitHub repository, and we'll see how we can wrap that inside a FastAPI kind of a microservice, and we can build an API. So we can use that API in our existing project, or even from we can deploy that on cloud, and we can also place that behind an API gateway, for example Rapid API, and there are multiple platforms where you can host all these API endpoints. Okay, and of course you can sell it as well. So that's what we are going to have a look, how we can take an AI model or then the model which are available, and how we can build an API, and then we can use that as an API service. So basically this is an AI as a service model that we are going to have a look today. So we are going to work with something called VIT. Okay, VIT GPT-2 image captioning model from Hugging Face. It's basically a vision transformer model with GPT-2. So it's again an encoder decoder model that we are going to look, and we are going to use that model, the open source implementation from Hugging Face. And for creating this API, we'll again rely on FastAPI, which is modern, fast, very pretty capable of scaling as well. It's a web framework in Python, provides multiple capabilities like async functionalities and pydantic, stylets, etc. So if you are not aware about FastAPI, I'll give the documentation link in the description. So let's jump in. So currently, if you see, I am on this Hugging Face VIT GPT-2 image captioning repository, and it's by NLP Connect. And if I just open it up, you see it's the high level architecture is also given over here. Okay, that this is how the transformer encoder and transformer decoder are working in tandem, to generate the image captions. If you go back, you'll see that they also have hosted this inference API. You can also try with some sample images on Hugging Face as well. It's very famous as well. So I do have a video. If you come back here, you'll see that I have a video called Image Caption Generator.
Understanding low-level system design is extremely important in order to build scalable, robust apps.
You can see Image Caption Generator, Google Colab, and Hugging Face. I do have explained that how this is working. So if you want to understand more about the backend part of it, how the model is working, I'll give that video link in the description. Please go through it. I have explained that in a very layman terms as well. So in this video, our focus is to basically build the API. Okay, how we can build this API using FastAPI, and we can just try it out with some API clients, for example Postman or Insomnia. So let's jump into it. So what I'm going to do now, I'll come back here. You'll see I have my GitHub repository. On this GitHub repository, if I come down, I'll have this image caption generation app here, the repository, and I'll start from the base code base, which is here on my notebook code and caption IP1B file. So what I'm going to do now, guys, I'll just go back to my image caption generation folder here. Let me just open in terminal and VS Code. So code dot, and I'll just explain what I'm talking. So you can see these are the requirements that we need. So the model is basically in the PyTorch version. Basically it was the model was created in I think, if I'm not wrong, I think it's in I think, let me just have a look, I think it was Flax. Yes, so the model was first trained in Flax, but this is the PyTorch version of this. So you can we need torch, we need transformers, but if you are installing it, most of the time this model will give you some errors when you are setting it up locally. You need sentence piece, which is the transformers dependencies. So we need sentence piece before transformers. So first sentence piece you should install, then you install transformers, and then the other libraries that you have, like torch, for example, or FastAPI. We need a Python multipart, because we are going to do a post request. We are going to basically send an image input as to our request endpoint. So we need a multipart here. We also need Evicon, which is a server to run FastAPI, and we need Pillow for some image operations. So let me quickly do one thing. Let me create a file called API.py, and in this API.py, I'm just going to basically first, let me just go back to this. So this Colab notebook is of my previous video, Image Caption Generator, Google Colab and Hugging Face. Okay, so if you need this, I know you can also find it on the GitHub repository inside this inside this repository, Image Caption Generator. So I'll just do one thing. I'll just copy this, come back here. You can see these are the dependencies that we need to run at least the model for now, and these are the thing that we need for to perform the inference, okay, on top of that model. So if you see, I already have a virtual environment. So I've created a virtual environment and I have installed all the libraries and dependencies through my in that virtual environment, but I'm going to activate now. So how do we activate cdvnv? If you don't have a virtual environment, if you want to create, this is how you create a virtual environment. If you are using Anaconda, that's a different method, but if you are creating in just like a standalone or just using a Python, so you need this Python -m venv or your virtual environment name, okay, and then you go inside venv and then you go inside scripts. If you are on Windows, if you are on Linux, you may have to go inside bin, and then you do either activate or /activate depending on what kind of terminal you are using, and then I'll just do cd dot and clear. So now you can see my virtual environment is activated, and now I can run this program inside this virtual environment. Now if you see what we have done, we are getting the model, feature extractor and tokenizer all from Hugging Face NLP Connect. We are getting this vision encoder decoder model first from this Hugging Face repository or space, from pre-trained VIT GPT-2 image captioning. Then we have feature extractor, then we have tokenizer, and then we are looking at if CUDA is available, run that on CUDA. We are binding it basically, okay. So, and if CUDA is not available, use CPU, which is okay for now. This works fine on CPU as well. And then you are using we have this function. Let me just do one thing. Let me just make some space for this function, and this you can see for the using feature extractor, we are extracting all the features and basically the pixels values. Okay, these are nothing but the pixels values, and we are storing that in variable called pixel values, and then we are passing that pixel values to the device that we have binded or piped. So we have, you can see this device variable, which is torch.device CUDA, and then we are generating the IDs for all the outputs in model.generate, passing the pixel value or any other quarks that you want to use, and then we are decoding this, and then we're stripping for the output in the predictions, and then we're returning the prediction. So if you want to understand more about this this model, please go and watch my previous videos. I've explained that in pretty detail, I will say, in very layman terms as well. So now what we have to do, guys, we have to work with FastAPI. Okay, so let's import the FastAPI libraries here. So what I'm going to do, let me just do one thing. Okay, so we need some modules. So let me just do from FastAPI. We need FastAPI, of course. So from FastAPI, import FastAPI, then file, and then upload file. This is for file, and then we also need some response, like redirect response that we to handle the endpoints there, URL. So from FastAPI dot responses, import. We can use JSON response because we need the output in a JSON response format. In a JSON format, we can also have HTML response, and we can also do redirect response. So redirect response is basically when you hit the URL localhost 8000, it will take you to the Swagger UI. Okay, so from FastAPI.responses, JSON response, this is okay. Now what we also need is let's also have something called Pydantic, for example, from Pydantic import base model. So Pydantic is used for some kind of data validations when you are using FastAPI. I will explain that in a bit. If import IO, okay, and then we need import JSON, for example. We also need request, so import request, and then that looks good. So for now it's okay, it's good. So you can see this function is already done. So what we have to do now, guys, we have to basically initiate a FastAPI here, and an app in FastAPI. So how do we do that? So let's call this app. So app equal FastAPI, and you can see this is a constructor FastAPI, and now I have initiated this FastAPI class, and if you hover over it, you can see all the parameters, the args and the quarks for this class FastAPI, which is a class basically. And now what I'm going to do, let's give it some title here, okay, for documentation. So in this title, let's call this Image Caption Generator. Image Caption Generator, okay, it also took description. Generator API, for example. You can also give versions, you can also use markdowns, you can make it a little documented as well. So in description, let's write a very simple description. So an API for generating captions, generating caption from an image, something like this, okay, from an image. Okay, let me call this small, from an image. This looks nice. So now we have app defined. Okay, we need some class. So the first class that we need, let's have a image caption, and this we are going to have a base model here. So I'm just going to use this base model. Okay, this is not required, base model. And in this base model, we're just going to caption string, which is going to be a string. Caption string, this looks good. So this is using Pydantic caption string class. Now what we have to do, we need a couple of things. Let's first define excuse me, I think I have wrote this inside a function. This will come out. FastAPI code starts here, something like this, and let me do Alt G as well. Start here, app. This is app is defined. Now we have class. This looks nice. And then the next thing is let's define some endpoints. So now the first endpoint, let's write a redirect. Let me just write a redirect to the user to the documentation, basically the documentation, something like this. So for that we need to have a get method here. So app.get, that's how you define in FastAPI. Then nothing, this will be empty for now, because if you hit localhost 8000, it should take you to the docs. I'll explain that, what I'm talking about, docs and Swagger UI, etc., including schema. So let's have this false for now. Okay, false. This looks good. So app.get. Now here we'll define an index method. So define index, and then in that return redirect response, and this URL equals nothing. Okay, one second. URL equals nothing but docs. That's it. So this will app.get include in schema false index. This looks nice. We have this. How do we run this, guys? So how do we run this API or the FastAPI app or code? So we need uvcon to run this. So uvcon final name, so which is API colon, and then you have this app name, which is app here, you can see. So app, you can use reload, but this is now not required, in Windows, at least in production. So but anyway, it reloads your code base if you are making some changes in real time. So uvcon API app reload, and let me just hit enter for now. Once I clicked on that, okay, it says uvcon running on HTTP. So I'll go to that URL. When it says application startup complete, it's still taking some time. Let it be. You can see it's loaded. Now you can see it says application startup complete. Now what you have to do, you have to come back here in your browser, just hit localhost 8000 for now. When you click on localhost 8000, you can see we have a simple title there which says Image Caption Generator API, the version 0.1, and it's based on OpenAI. It's because we are going to have a Swagger UI here, an API for generating caption from an image, an API, and then it says no operations defining spec. So we don't have any specification for the API that we are building. We have to have a post request, guys. That's what we are going to do now. But you can see, even if you don't hit localhost 8000/docs, even it will take you directly to the docs. That's what we did here, right? So app get and nothing there, and it will redirect you to the docs. Okay, Now let's write the post, the other method that we need, the real thing. So app.post, so we are going to have a post request now to this endpoint. Okay, so app post, and let's call this predict. So I'm just going to call this predicts. Okay, predict, and in this predict, what going to be our response model? So if you remember, if we have this image caption, this is going to have a response model which will return a string here, basically the caption. So response model, let's use the response model, nothing but the image caption. So let me just call this image caption here, guys. So image caption, this looks good. Now this is our endpoint, slash predict. Okay, and here we are going to write our functions now. So let's write def predict. In this def predict, we will write our file. Basically here we are going to define the data structure. So define predict file, and then it provides us upload file, because we are going to upload a file, and this upload file, we don't need this upload file, and we need again a file, and in this file here we need 3 dots, and then it makes sense. This looks nice. So we have defined the structure. So if we have imported file, upload file, and file, this is what we are doing it over here. Okay, now inside this function, what we have to do, we have to load the image file into memory. So let's write that. So load the image file into the memory. Little bit of documentation. So load the image file into the memory. So how should we do that now? So let's call this contents. So contents equal file, yes, dot read. This is correct. This recommendation is correct. So file read contents. Now let's have our image variable. So in this image, we'll have image dot open. We'll use pillow here. So image dot open, and inside this we'll use, which is a byte content, right? It's a byte image that we are having. So bytes IO, yes, right? And just passing the content. So we need a byte of it. So content. This looks nice. And now let's have a result variable where we'll use this function, guys. So our function name is nothing but the predict step, and it only needs your image path. So a result, and inside this result we need predict step, and this here you have to pass inside a list. So predict step and nothing but the image variable. So image which store our input image, and then we need the return the JSON response. So let's call it JSON response, and content equal nothing. Okay, this was right. Let's have this content. So content equals a key value pair. So it will have a caption, for example. Let's have a caption, a label, and then nothing but the result. So let's call this result. This looks nice to me. So you can see we have created a post method here. Okay, and we have an API endpoint called predict, which has a response model coming. We use parentic for that. You can see image caption, which will have a string there, as a caption, and then we have, that's basically for validating the data there, guys. Okay, parentic is used for data validation in FastAPI. And then we have defining the predict function, where we have defined the input file, which is an upload file, which is the file, and then we are loading the file into the memory. We are using bytes IO because we need the bytes of that, and then we are passing that through the predict step function that we have defined above, that's coming from VIT GPT-2 image captioning model, and then we're just returning the JSON response. Let's run this, guys. So what I'm going to do now, if you come back on this, we just have a refresh. Once you do the refresh, let me go back to my terminal and see if we are getting any bugs. It will take little time because we are using a very heavy model here. Okay, now you can see we have a default. Again, you can also name that. We can again document this as well, post endpoint or something. Okay, from that FastAPI constructor that we defined. And now in this, you see, if you click on this, it's basically, this is a Swagger UI. So if you're not aware about Swagger UI, okay, you can also go. It's a REST API documentation tool. You can see this looks like this, right? You can also try Swagger Hub. You can also document your API and related artifacts, right? So this is what we are doing here. You can see it's a multi-part form data because we have to upload. Uploading here, we are making a post request. We are not doing get Okay, it has a multi-part form data. If you see that, it's a request body. It has some kind of a validation, successful response, some default uh, name there. Now just click on try it out. Once you click on try it out, what it does, it gives you a request body option where you can upload your file. Now you can see it says file string binary, choose file. Now let's choose the file. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to use this image. Let me just show you that image as well. So I'm using this image, guys. Okay, so this image where Sam Altman, OpenAI CEO, is talking to Tesla CEO, no, Elon Musk. Once they were together, I think they started OpenAI together, and I think at that point of time they would have taken that picture somewhere. I think it's a Tesla, if I'm not wrong, Tesla manufacturing as well. But anyway, if I come back here on this UI, now you can see I have uploaded an image samaltman.jpg, and I will click on execute. Once I hit the execute, I expect that it will give me a caption of that image. Okay, let's see that. It says internal server error. Now let's see why we're getting this internal server error. It says file attribute read. Let's see how we can fix this, guys. So I think we do not have to do this step, the function, that the code that I have coded from, or the copied from my GitHub repository, because it's already in the byte. So we do not have to repeat the same thing here in the function. So here we do not have to, I think, pass this image.open. We only have to pass the file path, because we are already using that here in the line number 59. Let me just do input image equals to, if I just do image path, okay, input image equals to image path. Now if I just do a save, now let's go back to this and let's refresh this docs image caption generator API. Now let's try it out. I think we're just repeating the step because it was already in the byte value there. So I think most probably let's debug. I hope that we have debugged it right. And now if you click on this, if I click on again the Sam Altman image, you can take any other image as well. Now let's click on execute. Once I hit on execute button, you can see it's taking some time, and we got a response, guys. It says, let me just remove this terminal here. So it says caption, 2 men sitting on a couch in a room. No, that looks so. Let me just make it a little bigger so you can see it. It says 2 men sitting on a couch in a room. That's the caption we have. We have received after using that model. You can see 2 men sitting on the couch, which is correct. Let me just remove this. Let's upload the other image as well, guys. So if I click on choose file, let me upload this one more image here. When I clicked on that image, you can see our endpoint is hitting this post predict, and on this 200 we got a small bird perched on top of a tree branch. What a fantastic caption this one, right? If you see the image that I have uploaded, it's a bird image. You can see this image and just see the caption of that. Such a beautiful caption, a small bird perched on top of a tree branch, which is perfectly fine for me. At least this is giving right response. Now let's upload one more image, which is again Elon Musk image here. I'll just execute that. Let me show that image to you as well. Okay, so this is the image that we have uploaded. You can see Elon Musk is trying to do something with a car and all. Okay, so I've uploaded. It says a man standing next to a car with a surfboard, right? So it's the responses are amazing. Okay, of course in few of the images where the visual perception of that image, right, the quality of that image, I'll not say the quality, the lightning, because if you see the pixels value that we are getting, the feature extraction, if the feature extraction is not correct, okay, if that does not work, the entire model will fail, right? So sometimes it doesn't give you response, sometimes it gives you very good response. Okay, now there's an API we have built which is running on localhost 8000. How can we test this out? Maybe through an API endpoint. So let's do that. So I have an API client called Insomnia. You can also use Postman, for example, which is a very famous API client and API management and testing platform. If I open my Insomnia app, I use Insomnia because the UI looks very fun. You can see I've already tried previously as well. I'll just remove this. So what I'm going to do, I'll have a new request, for example, or let's try it out in this only. So predict. Okay, instead this I will upload this again, the bird image. You can see what I'm doing. If you click here on Insomnia, you can start a new. You can see this, the create new organization, and inside that you can start a new request. If you don't have any account on Insomnia, first we have to create an account, and then you can do these activities. Now if you see, if you click here, you see you have get, you have post, you have multiple methods here, the API methods. I have selected post because we are doing post. From where you will get that, you can see this is a request URL. So we have to use this request URL which is already there, but I'm just showing you that how you can do it if you're doing it for the first time. You can see localhost 8000 /predict/ and then you have multiple options. You have send, you can also generate client code, you can also send after delay, you can also have some timing there. Then you can also repeat on interval if you want to hit the API again and again after 5 minutes or 10 minutes and something like that. Okay, then you have to come on this multi-part body. Okay, you see multi-part form, then you have other form URL. If you have base64 etc., you can also use that. So click on that, and I have given the name file. Now how do you decide what the name you are giving? And if you come here, you will see we are giving this file input, which is a -f, file input file. So we have to name this file, and we are giving this here, and word JPG we have started. Now let's click on send and see if we are getting any response. When I hit that, you can see you will get the timing here, that what is the time or turnaround time from that API. You can see it took around 5 seconds, which is okay because you are using this on a CPU machine and you are using a transformer model, which is pretty fast, I will say, for this case. And you can see we are getting a caption which says a small bird perched on top of a tree branch. Okay, and you can have a look at these headers etc. also available, and in this preview you can look raw data, you can look at source code, and you can look at other things as well. Okay, so let me just go to visual preview because there is nothing there. So this is how you can test it out. Now further, what you can also do, you can also deploy this API somewhere on a server, and you can use to host this on Rapid API. So you can go to Rapid API. For example, if you go to Rapid API, you can create a new, I'm already creating it for this one. You can see I have an image caption generator. You can add an API project and you can host your API here, guys, and you can sell it off as well. You can have, like, if you see, they have multiple APIs on Rapid API, so you can build an API service and you can sell it off as well, and you can have monthly subscription per request, like 5,000 per request, something like that, for $10 or something, right? So you can also host that. Now maybe I'll create a video for this as well because I am in process of creating that. You can see I have a deployed image caption generator, and I will release that video very soon. Okay, so I think that's it, guys. That's it for this video, and I hope you liked it. The video where we have today learned how to build an image caption generator API using an encoder decoder model, transformer model with GPT-2, and also with FastAPI, how we can build this as an API service. The code again will be given in the description. It's also available on my GitHub repository called AI Anytime. If you like the content, please give us a thumbs up. Okay, and if you haven't subscribed the channel, do subscribe the channel for more videos like this. Please share the video and channel with your friends and to peer. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. See you in the next one.